They celebrated the Ark, but one forbidden look turned joy into terror. This was not a story about curiosity alone. It was a warning about holiness. Before judgment reached Beth Shemesh, fear had already shaken the Philistines. For 7 months, the Ark stayed in Philistine land, and peace vanished from their cities. The rulers did not ask how to win. They asked how to survive. Their gods were silent, their pride was wounded, and the Ark still remained. Ashdod, Gaza, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron had all felt the same fear. The question was no longer whether Israel's God was real, but how to return what was holy. So the Philistines called their priests and diviners, hoping fear could become wisdom.
What shall we do with the Ark of the God of Israel?
Even their question confessed defeat before the God they did not worship.
The answer was clear. Do not send it away empty.
They would send guilt offerings, signs of the plague that had humbled their land. Even the fields seemed to testify that something greater than chance had struck them. They remembered Egypt, where hardened hearts only made judgment heavier. Pride had brought them this far, but fear now opened their ears. A new cart would be built, untouched by common use, prepared for a sacred return. The test would be painful. 2 nursing cows, separated from their calves. If the cows walked away from their young, the Philistines would know this was the hand of God. At dawn, the city gathered around a decision no ruler could control. They lifted the Ark with trembling caution, afraid of what they could not command. Beside it, they placed the gold offerings, confession carved into metal. Every instinct pulled the cows backward toward their calves. No whip guided them. No hand pulled them. The road itself became the test. They cried as mothers, yet walked as witnesses.
They did not turn right. They did not turn left. They moved toward Israel.
The Philistine lords followed in silence, watching their own doubt. With every step, the impossible became undeniable. A defeated nation watched the Ark leave, not as stolen treasure, but as holy fire. The road to Beth Shemesh opened like a verdict. They had followed far enough to know this was not chance. In Beth Shemesh, ordinary hands were gathering wheat, unaware that holiness was approaching. Then one worker lifted his eyes, and the valley changed forever. The Ark had returned, and joy rose faster than understanding. They ran toward the sign of God's presence, not yet knowing how dangerous carelessness could be. The cart stopped in the field of Joshua, beside a great stone waiting like an altar. The journey ended without human command, and silence fell over the harvest. The Levites stepped forward, because holy things required holy order. They brought down the Ark, not as a prize, but as a sacred trust. The offerings from Philistia lay beside it, proof that even enemies had trembled. The cart that carried the Ark became wood for worship. That day, Beth Shemesh offered sacrifices, and gratitude filled the valley. The Philistine rulers saw enough, then returned home, carrying a fear they could not forget. But joy without reverence can become another kind of danger. Some hearts moved from worship to curiosity. They forgot that the holy is not made safe by familiarity. The Levites understood what the crowd was beginning to ignore. What is inside? That question opened a door their hands should never touch.
A forbidden look can begin long before the eyes see.
The Ark was not a chest of secrets. It was the throne sign of a holy God.
Then joy broke. Judgment fell, not to entertain fear, but to reveal the weight of holiness.
Beth Shemesh learned in one terrible moment what Philistia had learned for 7 months.
The Ark had returned, but reverence had not returned with it.
The people mourned because the blow was heavy and the lesson was unforgettable.
What had looked like blessing now demanded trembling respect. Who can stand before the Elohim, this whole God? It was the right question, asked after the wrong mistake.
The right response to holiness is not panic alone, but humble obedience.
Distance returned where reverence had failed.
Beth Shemesh no longer asked how to keep the Ark, but where it should go.
A message had to be sent before fear consumed the town. Kiriath Jearim would be asked to receive what Beth Shemesh could not bear. The news traveled with dust, breath, and trembling urgency.
And through the night, the Ark remained silent, holy, and untamed.
At Kiriath Jearim, the message arrived like a burden wrapped in fear.
The Philistines have brought back the Ark of the Elohim.
To receive the Ark was not an honor for the proud, but a calling for the reverent.
They did not hear an invitation to glory, but a summons to humility. Beth Shemesh had seen joy, sacrifice, curiosity, and judgment in a single day. The great stone remained as a witness. God is near, but never common.
The whole journey told one truth. No nation controls the Holy One.
The right response to holiness is not panic alone, but humble obedience.
God's presence is not unsafe because he is cruel, but because he is pure. The lesson was carved into a generation. Never treat sacred things with careless hands.
And the Ark would move again, because Israel still had to learn what it means to fear the Lord.